Hi guys, my name is Melissa Mangino and welcome back to Beyond the IEP. I'm so glad that you are joining us today. I'm going to go over a little 7-part series with short little videos that offer some content and information that may help you through this journey of special education through the public school system. And so if you are a parent of a child with a disability or you suspect that they're having struggles in school and they may have a disability, this part 2 of our series is really going to focus on when to request an evaluation. And this could be if your child already has a 504 or an IEP, or if they don't, and then you are brand new, this can apply to you too. And so I have my little notes up here on the screen that I'll be referring to. So if you see me look to the right, it's because I don't want to miss anything. I do this training a lot for families, and I just want to make sure that I get all the correct information out to you guys on this video segment. And so the number one thing I say to parents when they say, when should I request an evaluation? And that is whenever you want. You are the parent, okay? You are the only team member of your child's educational team from the beginning of their educational career in kindergarten or from age 3, whenever they started, all the way up until when they graduate or they go through the FAPE 22 system in the public education system. You are the only consistent team member, okay? Year after year, team members change. So if you're feeling like your child's not making meaningful growth in the way that they should at this time in their educational career, you have the right to request an evaluation at any time. So do it. And so if you're looking at some more specifics of really when would be a clear time that you would want to request an evaluation, here's a couple of other things that you could pull out and say, hey, this happened. This is what I'm seeing in my kiddo. So this is going to trigger my right as a parent to request an evaluation. And so the first one would be your child has recently received a diagnosis. Okay, so we get this a lot and we say, well, the diagnosis have to impact them in the educational setting. Well, let's bring that to the school team. Say my child recently got diagnosed with XYZ, attach the paperwork, and I formally request an evaluation to consider how this diagnosis is impacting them in the educational setting. All right, so if your child recently received a diagnosis, that's one of the first ones. If your child is regressing or they're really making minimal growth towards their IEP goals if they already have an IEP, or if your child is receiving the same IEP goals over and over and over again for every year, that's really when you would want to request a reevaluation as well. If your child does not have an IEP and they have been regressing, and you're really not seeing growth from year to year, you want to request a evaluation, right? If your child's consistently struggling and nothing's working, that's going to be a sign that what's happening at the school tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 level your child has not been responding to that and they need something more. And an evaluation will be able to determine what that more is. What does that look like? What is your child's specific needs? And so another thing that you'd want to look at is if your child is having increased difficulties in school, and that's in any area. So it can be academics, it can be independent functioning, social emotional, communication. The best part of an evaluation under IDEA is that it is required to consider all areas of the whole child, right? Just not academics. Now, does there have to be an impact to the educational environment or adversely affect them in the educational environment? Yes, but we can look at the whole child and see how is the behavior affecting them? How is their independent functioning, their organization? How is that affecting them? What is the evaluation going to tell us? And why are you as the parent going to request it? And it can be because they're struggling in any of those areas. Another thing would be that if your child's teacher has reached out to you and said, listen, I've been providing these types of strategies, this type of intervention, and your child is still really not making the growth that I want to see compared to his peers at this time of the school year, that would be a trigger for you, a warning sign for you, a red flag for you to say, okay, I would like to request an evaluation to see what else we can do, because an intervention is supposed to be put in place for a short period of time. So a skill that a child is struggling with, this team intervenes on, they provide intense instruction in that skill or in that standard, the child then responds to it, and the intervention is faded back. Interventions are not supposed to be a long-term solution. That is when we would be looking at specially designed instruction, which would fall under an IEP. And so if your child already has an IEP and they may need additional services, we already talked about this briefly, but really when you're looking at the goals and the goals haven't changed, or the progress monitoring on their goals is really saying, slow progress or minimal progress. That's when you would want to request another evaluation. And so remember, you are your child's number one IEP team or evaluation or school team member. You have the right to request an evaluation at any time. If your child is struggling in any area, request an evaluation. The next segment in this series is going to be how do I request an evaluation? What do I need to do to make sure that I am having a formal meeting with the team around the table and is documented properly? So join me as we jump into part 3 of our mini series. I hope this information was helpful. If you want to join my Facebook page, go to Melissa Mangino Beyond the IEP on Facebook, and I have some more information and helpful content there. Hope to see you soon.